everyone! Today, I have a very special story to share with you, especially since Christmas is just around the corner. It's a classic story called The Little Match Girl. Before we begin, I want you to imagine something. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you picture a cold, snowy evening? Imagine big, fluffy snowflakes falling from the sky, covering everything in a soft, white blanket. Feel the chilly wind on your cheeks. Now, open your eyes. That's the kind of night our story begins on. Are you ready to meet a very brave little girl? Let's start. It was New Year's Eve, the coldest night of the year. Snow fell heavily, and the streets were dark and empty. A poor little girl wandered barefoot through the cold. She had shoes when she left home, but they were too big for her, as they belonged to her mother. As she hurried across the street to avoid two speeding carriages, she lost them both. One shoe was lost forever, and a boy snatched the other, saying he'd use it as a cradle for his own baby someday. So the little girl walked on with her tiny, bare feet, which were red and blue from the cold. In her old apron, she carried a bundle of matches, and she held one small pack in her hand. All day long, no one had bought a single match from her. No one had given her a single penny. Cold and hungry, she crept along, a picture of sadness. The snowflakes fell on her long, golden hair, which curled beautifully around her neck, but she didn't notice her own beauty. From all the windows, lights were shining, and the delicious smell of roast goose filled the air. It was, after all, New Year's Eve. She found a corner between two houses where she huddled down, pulling her little feet up under her. But she was still getting colder. She dared not go home, for she had sold no matches and earned no money. Her father would surely be angry. Besides, her home was almost as cold as the street. It was just an attic, and the wind whistled through it, even though they had stuffed the largest cracks with straw and rags. Her little hands were almost numb with cold. Oh, a match might bring some comfort. If only she dared to take one from the bundle and strike it against the wall to warm her fingers. She pulled one out. Scratch! How it sputtered and burned! It was a warm, bright flame, like a tiny candle, as she held her hands over it. It was a wonderful light. It seemed to the little girl that she was sitting by a great iron stove with polished brass knobs. The fire burned so beautifully and gave off such a lovely warmth. Oh, how wonderful! She stretched out her feet to warm them too, but then the flame went out. The stove vanished, and she was left with only the burnt end of the match in her hand. She struck another. It burned brightly, and where the light fell on the wall became transparent like a veil. She could see into a room where a table was set with a gleaming white cloth, fine china, and a steaming roast goose, stuffed with apples and dried plums. And what was even more wonderful, the goose hopped down from the dish and waddled across the floor right towards her. But then the match went out, and there was nothing but the thick, cold wall. She lit a third match. Suddenly, she was sitting under the most beautiful Christmas tree. It was even larger and more decorated than the one she had seen through the glass doors of the rich merchant E's house. Thousands of candles burned on its green branches, and colorful pictures, like those in the shop windows, looked down at her. She reached out her hands toward them, and the match went out. The Christmas lights rose higher and higher, until she saw them as stars in the sky. One of them fell, leaving a long trail of fire. "Someone is dying," sobbed the little girl, for her old grandmother, the only person who had ever loved her and who was now gone, had told her that when a star falls, a soul is going up to heaven. She struck another match against the wall. It lit up all around her, and in the brightness stood her old grandmother, looking so gentle, bright, and loving. "Grandmother," cried the little one, "oh, take me with you. I know you will disappear when the match goes out, just like the warm stove, the lovely roast goose, and the big, beautiful Christmas tree." She quickly struck the whole bundle of matches, for she wanted to keep her grandmother with her. The matches flared up with such a brilliant light that it was brighter than noonday. Her grandmother had never looked so tall and beautiful. She took the little girl in her arms, and they flew in brightness and joy, high, high up, where there was no cold, no hunger, and no sadness. In the cold dawn, the little girl sat in the corner between the two houses, with rosy cheeks and a smile on her lips. She was frozen to death on the last evening of the old year. The New Year's sun rose on her little figure. She sat there, still holding the matches, one bundle of which was almost completely burned. She wanted to warm herself, people said. No one imagined the beautiful things she had seen, nor in what glory she had entered with her grandmother into the joy of the new year. Thank you for listening to this story with me. It reminds us to be kind and to help others, especially during the holidays. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.